What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So hopefully you had a good weekend. Had a lot of fun here. Went ahead and, of course, took a look at Daemon X Machina over the weekend. We did a PSP kind of tech wave retro look, and then we did the full Spawncast, which is available now on SoundCloud, so you can listen to it there. So it was a pretty good weekend overall. Today, though, we have to get into a few things, which includes the internet going absolutely crazy over the weekend after Game Informer senior editor decided to drop an interesting hint on Kind of Funny, and we're gonna go over that because that one caught a lot of people off guard and some ideas around what he could be talking about. It's hard to say. He's pretty vague with it, but he at least gave us enough of a hint so we can narrow some stuff down. As always, guys, enjoy these videos. Do hit the like button. It does help out. We're actually going to start today with The Witcher 3 and the Switch. Because, of course, we saw that retail listing that was very weird, but next to it, we also saw the Assassin's Creed 3 listing, and that turned out to be correct. So now people are, of course, looking for any connection that they can make with CD Projekt Red and Nintendo, because there's been no connection there before at all. So if they find one, well, there's a chance that maybe that Witcher 3 listing was correct, just like Assassin's Creed 3. And YouTube creator DocTray81 actually spotted something that was fairly interesting, as you're seeing here, with a job listing that does mention the Switch. Actually, it's the head of software engineering for GOG Galaxy. Now, GOG, of course, or GOG.com, is owned by the CD Projekt Red, and they are apparently hiring different engineers here, the software engineering. It would be for the Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. It is interesting that they would be hiring for GOG Galaxy for the Switch, unless they maybe have something in the background going on with that Witcher game, which is a conclusion that DocTray appears to draw here. Now, The Witcher 3 was an interesting listing to see pop up because it was one of those situations where people were having a hard time believing that would work on the Switch. I've told you guys before, the real issue is the file size. If they can make the file size work for most games, they can usually figure it out. We've seen them drop the resolution pretty low. Go look at Ark. So it's not really about getting it to work from that side. It's more about fitting it on a cartridge within reason that, would make sense in terms of cost. So keep that in mind. We still don't really know any confirmation or anything, obviously, about The Witcher 3 or anything like that, but it would be interesting to see it pop up. However, we're still waiting to see if anything concrete comes out, and really I guess the next place I would even see an announcement for something like that would be E3, so we'd probably even still have a ways to go before we even hear about it. Also, here's something that's kind of annoying that Nintendo keeps doing, and I know early adopters get really annoyed by it. They keep releasing those editions like the year after or months later, and it has like a cool art book with it or something, or beginner's guide or map. They've done it with Zelda, they've done it with Mario Odyssey, and here they are now offering it a Best Buy at Steelcase for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and it's starting now. So as you see in the tweet here, beginning 2/17, purchase either version of Pokemon Let's Go to receive the one-of-a-kind Steelbook while supplies last. That would have been so much better to have offered on launch day, before the 10 million plus sold to all of the loyal customers that were going to buy it right away. I get that they probably do this to help sales after they start to kind of drop off. But still, I know there's a lot of people right now watching this looking at that saying, well, I bought it. Can I have that? Apparently not. Apparently that's going to run towards the end of February. So I guess if you haven't bought it yet, and they put that demo out and you like it, hey, you get a cool little steel case from Best Buy. Also, here's a really weird thing that Nintendo keeps doing, and people even leave it in the comments at times. It's a very odd thing that they do. They use the entire Nintendo Direct as a pre-roll for an advertisement on a YouTube video, and they're doing it again. So the one that just happened last week, they are now putting in front of YouTube videos, and that's like a 30-something minute thing. I've seen people tell me that an entire movie has been an advertisement on YouTube, and it's just weird. I just do YouTube Red, so I don't even really see ads anymore because I do that because I watch YouTube a lot, but that is an odd thing to have ads. I guess you have a skip button, so if people are interested, they'll keep watching it. If not, they'll skip, but a full 35-minute thing or a full, 2-hour movie, again, people have seen, is weird. But I guess Nintendo figures, hey, we'll get in front of some people, and if they like what they see, they'll go buy a Switch. I don't know. I mean, the beginning of that Direct was Mario Maker right away, so I wonder how many people actually make it through that Mario Maker trailer into the actual Direct. And guys, some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We're going to start with this weird hint at a Nintendo revival, essentially. Well, sounds like Nintendo would be going back, getting a canceled project, reviving it, one that was officially canceled, and bringing it back for the Switch, it seems. Now, this was actually done on Kind of Funny by Game Informer senior editor, who has hinted at stuff in the past that's become true, so I wouldn't be shocked obviously the senior editor at Game Informer, who knows about a lot of things before the public, since they, of course, do Game Informer and have to have articles ready well in advance, would know something like this. But it's an interesting tease that's kind of like out of nowhere, and I don't even know why they did this on Kind of Funny, unless they really wanted to tell them something, but they just couldn't. Anyway, here's the tease. Let me hint at something, I guess. This is a thing that I'm going to write up at some point as soon as I get some more sources on it. But there's a game that's thought to be dead that Nintendo's reviving, and it's not one that people would expect. It was very much a title that was dead and buried, very officially canceled. So as you can imagine, this got people talking instantly. People are trying to guess, what is he talking about? What game was officially canceled? And trust me, some of the speculation and the guesses really get out there. And the reason for that is because Tease is officially canceled, as in like loudly canceled, as one we all know was canceled, not one that kind of faded away and quietly disappeared. It's officially canceled. Seems like we would know about this game being canceled, so it kind of narrowed down people's thoughts and guesses and everything, and people were even straying over into like Microsoft territory over this because they were just running out of things to guess. So if we start closest to Nintendo that we can, there's Project Hammer. That's something that could be what they're always referring to there. It's something Nintendo had ready for the Wii way back. It was like in the late 2000s, like 2008, 2009, that they were talking about, and they canceled it. And it was like in this weird beat-em-up style game. Again, Project Hammer, go figure, right? It should be my favorite game, apparently. But you figure that would be something that they could go back, they could bring up to, I guess, 2020, 2019 standards, announce it and put it out. I don't know how excited people would get, but that's definitely something that people might have forgotten about, and it kind of was officially canceled, as there was a report that came out about it, I guess. So that's one that might catch people off guard. Another one that I've seen people mention, which would be absolutely out of left field, and like, what? You didn't want to do Mother 3, but you'll do Mother 64, Earthbound 64? That's another one that people have been talking about. That was technically canceled, and they did Mother 3 instead, but could they go back? Get Earthbound 64, rename it something else, and bring it up and redo it that way. That is one that was kind of out of left field. The one that I think makes the most sense, and I kind of thought about it right away when I saw this, because it was officially canceled. It was a very weird, out of nowhere cancellation, but Capcom seems to have changed their mind a bit here, and I could see Nintendo kind of work their way in and publish the game, maybe even do development on it, I'm not sure. Mega Man Legends 3, and I know you're thinking, John, you're a Mega Man fan, of course you want this. I know, I would like to see this happen, but if you remember, there was supposed to be like a demo for this thing, and it never released, but there was footage of people actually playing it at a full convention where they were actually getting hands-on with it, and it did exist to the point where they were almost ready to put a demo. I think they canceled it like weeks before the demo or something was supposed to come out. Mega Man Legends 3, with Capcom's like actual push right now, would be amazing, and I think it makes sense because Mega Man's actually kind of coming back right now. The sales are better. Mega Man 11 did within reason. Their expectations were met with that. The Legacy Collection continues to sell. The X Collection is selling. We think there's X9 coming. Yeah, Mega Man Legends 3 would probably be, I think, one that would fit that criteria. It was one that would come back. People would have forgotten about it. It was one they wouldn't expect, right? It was officially canceled, and it's something that I think Nintendo could work with because it's a third-party company like Capcom to publish, get the development going again, and put it out. So, let me tell you about the crazy one. This is one that everyone is at least kind of putting out there, and I know why it's happening. It's because everyone wants the game to exist so badly that they're kind of overlooking the obvious issues here. Scalebound keeps getting pointed out, and think about that for a second, right? Okay, so Microsoft canceled Scalebound. It was a project between Microsoft and Platinum Games. Maybe that's why people are thinking about it, because Platinum Games and Nintendo have a good relationship. But Microsoft still owns that IP. I don't know at all why Microsoft would take Scalebound and say, hey, Nintendo, do you want to revive this? Here you go. And then Nintendo would revive it with Platinum Games without Microsoft and put it on the Switch, which would in no way benefit Microsoft. I don't know why that would be a thing. The only reason I look at this and say people are saying this is because people so badly want Scalebound to come back that I feel like people are trying to will it into existence. And I know people look at the relationship between Nintendo and Microsoft, and that kind of helps their theory there, but Microsoft hasn't really put much else out on there other than, like, you know, Minecraft and other Xbox Live games, I guess, could show up as they're doing that and people are talking about it, but they haven't shown it otherwise without Minecraft, so I don't know why all of a sudden Scalebound would just jump there. So it's an odd thing. I'm sticking with Mega Man Legends 3 as my guess. Now, Imran has said that he might do an article as he gets more sources. Of course, eventually, if this does actually happen, we'll just know about it because we'll say, oh wow, okay, that must have been the canceled game that's coming back. Let me know what you think down below, and if I've forgotten one, what would you like to see come back that was apparently officially canceled? Next up, let's talk about the UK sales charts as we get to see how a slew of games did in their first few days, right? We saw the new Far Cry spin-off, New Dawn come out, we saw Metro come out, we saw Crackdown come out, so we get to kind of see how Crackdown does in the UK, and it didn't do great, really, so let's just take a look at the top 10. Far Cry New Dawn was actually number 1, which is good and bad, because Far Cry didn't do as well as 5, which I'm not really surprised, as the sales, of course, for this, it's $20 cheaper than a full-fledged game. It's $40, right? But it sold 86.5% less than Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5, $6 game, big push, obviously, with the next numbered series. I kind of get that, but it was still enough to top the charts there. The big one that people are pointing to as being like the big winner is Metro. Metro did very well there, and of course that is published by Deep Silver and everything. Metro Exodus only missed that top slot by about 2,000 units, but it absolutely destroyed Metro Last Light, which is pretty interesting because that, of course, Last Light came out on the 360 and the PS3 and PC, and that was when digital sales were less impactful than they are now. But still, very, very good showing there. Red Dead Redemption 2 was at 3 Jump Force, actually, which is much better than it should have done based on what everyone's saying about the game. I think a lot of that has to do, of course, with the different characters in there. Number 4, FIFA 19 at 5, Resident Evil 2 at 6, Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which is still hanging around the top 10 at 7, Kingdom Hearts 3 at 8. Actually, that's a big drop for Kingdom Hearts 3, down from 3 to 8. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 9, and then Call of Duty Black Ops 4 at 10. Okay, so you're probably looking at that top 10, you're saying, hey, wait, where's Crackdown 3? Okay, well, get ready for this one. So Crackdown 3 sold less than 10% of what Crackdown 2 did back in 2010 when it released, and I don't think that sold that well. Crackdown 3 didn't do great here. It came in number 13 in the sales chart, so it missed the top 10 in its debut week, which is, of course, Friday and Saturday. I think it's going to fall out of the top 20 very quickly. Like, by next week, that might be it. Of course, it is on Game Pass. It didn't do well in the reviews. It wasn't marketed like it at all. So I'm not surprised by this result, but I thought it would have at least kind of popped up in the top 10. However, it's tough. It's tough to recommend this game for $60. I have completed the game. I was going to do some thoughts on it in a video coming up. It's not a $60 game, that's for sure. So I at least understand the sales here. But the good news is this seems to be the last, I guess, quote unquote, bad Xbox game that could be coming up. Although we haven't seen Battletoads yet, I guess. But Ninja Theory's up, we think, next, and of course they have a slew of studios, so we'll see what happens there. However, it looks good for Metro Exodus, did much better. Far Cry New Dawn took the number 1 spot, and for a spin-off, I think it did around what Ubisoft was expecting. So other than Crackdown 3, it seems like, I mean, even Jump Force got number 4, and I think at this point, Bandai Namco will take whatever they can get. So outside of Crackdown 3, everything seemed alright there. And our last bit of news, let's talk about more Splinter Cell, because Ubisoft will not let us forget about Splinter Cell. They did, of course, the cameo in Ghost Recon, and now they're doing some call-outs here in Far Cry New Dawn. Now, of course, people got their hands on it over the weekend, and we're seeing a lot of little Easter eggs being found in this game now. That we're seeing like a rabbit from the Rabbids, of course, and we also see some callbacks to Splinter Cell. Specifically, it seems to be Blacklist, as you're seeing here. They actually found a downed plane that, of course, looks like the Paladin from Blacklist, and interestingly enough, when you walk in there, yes, you see the entire suit there. The sneak suit is there, so you can pick that up and then you start to wear it. Of course, it has the iconic, the tri-goggles and everything, the green. And once again, Ubisoft does not want us to forget about Splinter Cell. They haven't done much with it in a while, but they keep kind of putting little callbacks and Easter eggs in these games that they keep putting out. So maybe they do have something for us. I mean, we talked about this last E3, and I was like, maybe they have a Splinter Cell for us and nothing. I was like, maybe they'll have Skate 4 and nothing. It was just well, that's for EA, but yeah, it was just it was kind of a disappointing E3 for all of those. But hey, E3 is what, 4 months away now? Less than 4 months, actually. It's coming up pretty quick. Splinter Cell, can we get that, Ubisoft? Because you keep teasing it, so you know, let's actually do that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it is this weird Tease by the Game Informer senior editor about Nintendo reviving a dead franchise, apparently, or a game that was canceled. What do you think it is? And I guess when do you think they'll even announce it and put it out? It's interesting. It's fun to speculate, right? And this is done by a bit more of a legit source than we've seen previously with anonymous people on message boards and stuff. And then when you think about a possible Splinter Cell revival, maybe they could do something with Splinter Cell. Maybe Ubisoft's been working on it. That's why they keep teasing it. Let me know, guys, down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.